In this week's Gospel, Jesus presents to us one of his most famous parables. You probably know it as the parable of the prodigal son, but sometimes it's called the parable of the forgiving father, because he's actually the focus of the story, is the dad, right? It's kind of a longer parable, so it's probably worth reading it through a couple of times, maybe out of your Bible or on the USCCB website or whatnot, right? So, famous story, right? This dad has two sons. One of them does this massively disrespectful thing to his dad, right? He says, I want my inheritance, which I would normally get when you die. I'd like that now. Right? So it's as if he's saying, hurry up and die already so I can just get what's coming to me. And the dad gives it to him. That's insane, right? And the guy goes off and he wastes all of his money on loose living and all sorts of stuff, right? And then he just finally comes to his senses and decides, I should go back home and be a slave in my dad's house. Here's where the story focuses on the father. Dad is looking for him while the guy's still a long way off. His dad goes running out to greet him, throws the cloak around him, puts a ring on his finger, slaughters the fattened calf, has this giant party, right? And the other son is mad because he was at home the whole time. And he's like, I always followed your rules. I'm always obedient and all this kind of stuff, right? And so we've got these two sons. One of them wastes resources, runs off, massively disrespectful of dad, finally repents and literally turns around and comes back home. And the other son, who's been home the whole time, who's just grumpy about following the rules. Right, so there's a question there for us. Which son are we? Are we the one who runs off and does what we shouldn't do and turns around? Maybe we've run off and done what we shouldn't do and haven't turned around yet, right? Maybe we need to turn around and come back home. Or are you the one who's like, I've been Catholic my whole life. I've followed the rules all along. It's never meant much to me other than following rules, right? That's where some of us are. And if that's where you are, you need to recognize who your dad is. Right, who is our Father? Our Father is God the Father in heaven, is like the Father in this story. He's looking for an opportunity to show us mercy, to forgive us, to welcome us back home. We don't often view God that way. We often view God as he's looking for a reason to cast us off, to say, well, you didn't make the cut here, you didn't fast enough, you didn't pray enough, you didn't whatever enough, right? You gave up on your Lenten thing a couple of weeks in, you didn't make it all 40 days, right? That's not who God is. God is looking for an opportunity to forgive. And that's a critical challenge for me as a father. Because as a dad, unfortunately, I'm not often looking for opportunities to forgive. I'm not actively seeking. When my kids are having a bad day, I'm much better at showing them justice than I am at showing them mercy, and I have to do both. Right? I'm not necessarily actively looking for the opportunity to slide in and show mercy like the father in this parable, who's looking to the distance, waiting for his son to come back because he's just hoping that it's going to happen. And when it happens, he charges in and seizes the opportunity. I don't often do that. I don't know if you do that with your kids, with your friends, with with anybody that is in your sphere of influence. Are you looking for opportunities to forgive? Because that's how we can begin to live like Jesus and like our Father in heaven.